Hi, I'm Katie Armstrong. I'm the Hub Lead for Flying High English Hub, and welcome to today's podcast. We're thinking today about how we can engage parents in supporting their children in learning to read. The National Literacy Trust's latest report highlights a significant decline in the number of children saying that they enjoy reading at home. We know that the children that choose to read for pleasure have more successful futures, so we want this for every child. One of the factors that's been identified as causing this decline in children reading at home is the use of devices. We know children would much rather sit playing on a phone, another device, or watching TV than picking up a book and reading. There are lots of things that parents and carers can do at home to enable their children to choose to read and develop that love of reading at home. However, there are also challenges for parents and carers, things like time constraints. Parents are all really busy people, whether they're working, they've got household commitments, they've got school runs to do, swimming lessons, football training to get to. Finding the time to fit in reading can be really tricky. There's also a lack of confidence in some parents. They may have lower levels of literacy themselves or just not understand how reading is taught at school and feel reluctant to help their children, often through a fear of getting it wrong. They don't want to teach their children or show them the wrong way of doing it, which is going to hinder their progress in school. So they choose not to. We also have other barriers like not having lots of reading materials in the home. So if you haven't got books to share, it's really hard to build that reading for pleasure at home. And also language barriers. So if the family first language is not English and parents and carers aren't fluent in English, then teaching their children to read books that are written in English is really tricky. They find it really hard to support their children. So today we are privileged to be here at the Green Flying High Academy, joined by head teacher Jess Smith and her deputy Hayley O'Brien, who have worked a lot in their school in developing relationships with the parents and the community and thinking about how they can support their parents in enabling their children to read at home. So Jess, Hayley, welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about the Green? So for people that don't know your school, where are we in the world? What's your context? Tell us a little bit about the Green.
We are in sunny South Normanton in Derbyshire, North East Derbyshire. We're an infant school. We've been part of Flying High Partnership for 5 years.
Going on 6.
Going on 6. I joined 2 years ago and we rebranded the school to the Green Flying High Academy. And yeah, that's exactly where we are. We are a really small, close-knit, tight community. Our school community, our children are 96% white British, and we have around a third of our school population classed as disadvantaged or vulnerable. So it's a tricky catchment, but our school community now, based on all the things that we've done, is absolutely fantastic, and the relationships that we've got are something we're really proud of, aren't they?
Yes, we're really proud of it. We've worked for over the past 2 years since Jess has been here, inviting parents in and making those really big, strong, positive relationships, as they're really important.
Lovely. So I know you've worked hard on those relationships, and we know there are things that schools can do, and schools often talk about getting parents in for workshops and doing family events and things. So it's something you've worked on with your parents to really support them. So I'm really interested to know what your parental engagement was like, maybe when you first started, Jess, what it's like now, and the things that you've put in place to get to that point. So what sort of things have you done to support your parents to enable them to help to get their children reading at home?
I think parental engagement, irrespective of reading, our parental engagement was not where we wanted it to be at all. There was a very distinct line between school and community, and we didn't want that. We wanted parents to come in. We knew we had to open up the doors to parents coming in, but it was building confidence of staff to have the parents in and not feel like, you're being judged or watched or whatever. But then at the same time, we knew that to build relationships, we had to build trust. There had to be an element of the parents trusting that school was a positive thing and a good thing, and it was something that perhaps challenged their own experience of school and their own experience of, you often hear parents say, I was never very good at school or things like that.
A lot of our parents do, don't they? They have that negative perception that you've got to turn positive.
Absolutely.
And we did that by inviting them in, and that time it was coming out of COVID, so people weren't allowed into schools, were they? So when Jess came, we had to work hard to devise a plan of how we're going to do this, because they don't want, some of them don't want to come in because they don't feel comfortable, but also they've not been in due to COVID.
It seems weird talking about COVID now,
It
but
does.
you're right. There was that really clear, like, distinct. Here's a you can't cross this line. You can't come into
we're
school.
very separate. We don't
very
mingle.
separate. We don't mingle. We can only have 3 people or 4 or 5 people in there.
Yeah.
So actually, the kind of new start in building our school culture of we want to be a huge school community really fit with, and we used reading as a vehicle to do that.
Okay.
So, for example, one of the first things we did was, and I know this is getting into the specifics, we set up morning session every single Monday. We call it Rise and Read, 8:30 till 8:45, where we invited all parents into school to read with their children.
Lovely.
So
every class is open, everybody's invited.
Every class is open, everybody's invited into school. The first thing it served was that we actually got parents into school. Whether they sat and read to start with or not was very different. It was about showcasing the classrooms, letting them talk to the teachers, seeing the displays on the wall, seeing how proud their children were.
Lovely. It's part of that, I suppose, feeling comfortable being
Absolutely,
in the building as well, if
Yeah.
that's not your lived experience previously.
And also seeing the parents can see the relationships between their children and the adults in the setting, you know, and feel comfortable, because it's a big thing, isn't it, to send your children to school?
Absolutely. And that builds trust in itself.
Yeah.
So if you see that the teacher or the teaching assistant or the unit that your child is in is actually, there's amazing people that work there that love and care for the children there, it makes you feel a certain type of way about that school. So getting us out there and getting people in to see what we're about to start with. But obviously, like I said, that involves a shift in culture in the school, which we used through our Rise and Read sessions, and we still run them today. So they still happen every single week, almost without fail.
And then we celebrate them also, don't we? We take pictures of each classroom. So, parents who don't attend, we put the pictures on Dojo so they can see the children reading.
Oh, lovely.
So to start with, that was kind of the into reading.
Yeah. Have you found that that's continued in popularity? At some schools sometimes say, that we tried something and people came at first, and then it dwindled off, so we stopped doing it.
But that's our responsibility.
Yes.
So, for example, with something like that, I think Hayley's got a good point about celebrating it. Every single week, we've kind of developed what Rise and Read looks like. At first, it was to get people in, get relationships built. It was getting into a routine with our parents.
Yeah. We
prioritise reading for you to come in with us. We want you to prioritise it at home. Yeah. If it's something that you're not seeing us do all the time, I don't want it to be when a child goes home, they've got the reading record signed by the teacher and that's the only reading evidence we have. Actually, we popularised it, didn't we? And teachers were asking parents, don't forget it's Rise and Read, you're coming on Monday morning.
Right.
So we put reminders on our class dojo, we put reminders on Facebook. What better way to start a Monday than reading with your child? We also do like a guilt trip thing, so to children to get the parents in. Yeah. Don't forget to remind your mum it's Rise and Read. And the more and more we've done that and kind of championed it, because it's only as good as what we make it, isn't it? Yes. The more we've done that, it's become, I would say we have about 80-85% of every class parents in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow, that's great.
It's very busy, yeah.
But keeping it on class dojo and things like that is keeping it in the forefront of everybody's minds, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's still happening and it's still consistent in school. I think keeping it consistent and celebrating each week helps, the parents to think, it's Rise and Read today.
Yeah, like I say, it's that reminder, isn't it, that it's coming up, we've done it, I missed it this week, I need to go next week. Yes. So you're seeing it all the time.
And also we've had parents say to us now, like recently, I'm not starting at 9 until 9 on a Monday because I know it's reading morning.
Yes.
Right.
So a huge, it's not possible all the time, but it shows that to that child, they're putting enough pressure on a parent to say, I really want you to come in and read.
Yeah, and that parents then prioritising that and organising schedules around it is fab.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that was the main, there's lots of other things that surround that, but I think that served 2 purposes, didn't it? It was a reading focus, but open the doors as well.
Yeah. Okay. So you said you do lots of other things around it. What are those other things you do then? So you get parents in reading in the morning every week?
Every Monday.
What else have you done?
We have changed the way we run. I don't know if run's the right word. We've changed the way that we celebrate reading with children, but also how we celebrate home reading.
Okay.
So we're always really mindful that we historically have had children that don't or aren't motivated to read at home, and that can be through a variety of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's our responsibility to teach the children how to read, whether that's at school or at home. And I really strongly believe that a child shouldn't be left out or punished because they've not read at home.
Yeah.
So we don't have reward schemes that specifically target certain children that have read.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We reward children for reading.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have Class Dojo, which we use, where we record the amount of reads. We're really consistent in how we record children reading on a weekly basis. So
Right.
we collect reading diaries in on a Friday. We prioritise that Friday morning. So Rise and Read starts the week, reading diaries and check-in bookends the week. So it means that we start and end with those things.
That reading focus, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely a focus. And teachers' responsibility is to monitor their class. So we just have basic lists that say how many times you've read.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of training from Carl Patterson and the English Hub around spotlight readers and ARE target readers and what that looks like in school.
For schools that don't know, what do you mean by a spotlight reader?
So our spotlight readers are our sort of bottom 20% level children in the class. So it's roughly 6 children per class.
Yeah.
And it's based on euphonics assessments. For us as an infant school, and as a Read Write Inc school, it's based on our assessments of the children's phonics.
Okay.
So, for example, those 6 children in each class, our spotlight children, we consider where they sit in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So do they need to sit at the front? Do they need more? Do they need additional attention? But they read without fail with a teacher every single day.
So you're prioritising some time from an adult
Yes.
somewhere
Some
for
time
those
for an
children.
adult every single day.
Fab.
So this is also, and I know it seems like, oh, well, I'm sure they've got loads of adults. We've got 4 classes in Key Stage 1 and we only have 1 TA between 4 classes. So we don't have an abundance of adults, do we?
No.
In early years, we've got 55 children, 2 teachers, 1 TA.
Right, okay.
So,
So how do you manage that, getting all 6 children in every class to be heard read every day?
It's a non-negotiable.
Okay.
So it's a shared standard, I think,
Yes.
that we've built together, that actually these are our vulnerable children, these are our spotlight children. It's a non-negotiable that those children need to be heard read every day.
And teachers listen to those children read.
Mhm.
Right.
It's not teaching assistants, it's the teachers in the class that listen to the children read. And what they do read, they have 3 books each, so they're decodable and they're the sounds that they're working on in the lesson.
Yeah.
So the books, are at the right level. The children aren't losing confidence, thinking they're too hard, but they're getting challenged with their new sounds. But also they take a reading for pleasure book home. So that's something, hopefully they really enjoy and they want to read it at bedtime and things like that.
Yeah.
So we try and pitch it right at the right level for the children to build the confidence that way.
Absolutely.
Lovely. So how are those children, your spotlight children, communicated with parents? How do parents support with that at home?
So we have in year 1, we do half-termly phonics reviews. So that's like a mini parents' evening for parents to discuss reading book bans, what the progress looks like in reading, what the progress looks like in phonics, what can we do to help you, what can you do to help us.
Oh, I love that.
So yes, we do that every half, but we start it in year 1 because in early years with Read Write Inc, we don't start teaching full phonics lessons till after Christmas.
Right.
So we believe that the spotlight for the autumn term in year 1 is important because 2 parents' evenings a year for us, with the message that we want to share with parents, it's not enough. Because that first parents' evening, it's like they've settled brilliantly, they've got friends, they're doing really well, we
and
love
that's the
them.
bit parents want to know in that first
Of course,
parents'
it's
evening,
the
how are they getting
reassuring.
on and how are they settling in?
Whereas actually, it's important as well that, as an infant school, we haven't got an F1. We've got 3 years with these children.
Yeah.
And if we do nothing else, these children must leave as readers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to prioritise and say to parents, you know, we do these reviews every half term in year one. It shows that we're prioritising it. We would like you to as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's our 6 spotlight children have those phonics reviews, and there might be children that have had assessments where they need particular additional support, in which case we would do it for a couple more children as well.
Right, okay.
It entirely depends. So that's our package for our spotlight children, is the daily individual reading, which happens during assembly times and during our soft start. So doors are open for 20 minutes before registers.
Right, okay.
So we have a good section of time there where they can be done, which involves so much else in place for that to happen with the teacher. So your morning routines have got to be down packed because you want the children to come in and settle so that you can do your readers. But it's just prioritising those moments.
Yeah, definitely. Time is so precious in schools, isn't it? So you've
it
got to
is.
use that. So when you do your meetings with parents, you talked about this is what we're doing, this is what you can do. For parents that are less confident, how do you support them in, you know, this is what you can do? Is it resources? Is it videos? How do you make sure that they know what to do with their child at home?
We've got quite a few things that we've developed, haven't we?
We have. Early on in Foundation 2, we do a phonics workshop for parents.
Right, okay.
Where we try and not entice parents in, but we do get them in because we keep the children. So the staff keep the children, so the parents then can come to the hall for 10 minutes to have a workshop, you know, about how to teach those first sounds. And those workshops carry on into year 1 and into year 2, and we refresh the parents and let them know what new things that the children are learning according to the year groups.
Okay, so what's your uptake like for those? I mean, some schools report just 1 or 2 parents come in. Do you get more than that? And how do you get them to come in?
The first ones we did, September 2023.
Yes.
We had 1 or 2 parents.
Right.
One of the things we find that's worked is that we tell the children that they're happening. Your parents are going to learn how we read at the phonics, and we send the children out to collect their parents and bring them back in for the workshop.
Oh, that's cute.
Children are the key.
Yeah,
The key to
definitely.
getting
So
them in.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's not, you know, we do as much as we can to get parents to come in or say, you know, it's not a workshop. It's not, you don't have to do anything. It's taking away the threat, isn't it? Of like, we're not going to put you on the spot and say, read.
Yes.
It's not that at all.
Yeah, we're not going to test you on your phonics knowledge while you're here.
Yeah.
It's helping you to help your child, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think the workshops, I think the early years one's next week, so that's week 2 for us of the September term.
Right, okay.
Yes.
And then the year 1 and year 2 follow on from there.
Right.
So it gives parents like the progression through school of what it looks like for reading and phonics. And then it also gives parents an understanding of the 3-book approach that Hayley talked about, decodable book, a book for pleasure, reading for pleasure book, and a book bag book, which is just a practice of known code.
Yeah.
So yes, it gives them a really good understanding, because parents tend to really like, they get quite, they need the reading diary and they need the book. Why isn't the book been sent out on day 2?
Yeah.
Which is great. So we do have a reading diary that goes out as well, because our parents at the minute prefer the paper one. So that's something we might look at further down the line.
Right, okay.
They do like reading the comments in there. And our comments that we put to the parents, we try to make them progressive for the, you know, to help the children. So not just, you know, great work today, but can you look at this sound and really emphasise on what the next steps are.
So what they can do at home to help with that practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think as well, the sharing with the parents the language that we use in the reading diary. So for example, as part of the workshop, Read Write Inc uses Fred Talk. So as part of the workshop, we explained to the parents all of the different terms that Read Write Inc uses. And I think that's really important. I know last year when we did it, we had some children that helped in the year 2 one.
Right.
So they could show parents, they were like the mini teachers that could help.
Oh, that's nice.
It was really nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it just helps parents get used to that. As part of what we do with the reading diaries, I'd just like to touch on this. We've really had to put a lot of focus into how we record what the children are doing in school and how we can record that with parents. So as a staff, We've developed like example bank of statements that we use.
Okay.
So we've developed like our own positive statements, if you like, our own target statements, so different praise and prompt that are familiar with our staff, really familiar, and each child is getting a specific target that as a staff we've kind of quality assured.
Right, okay.
So if
we're not just getting red today.
We're not getting random at struggled with we're not getting randoms. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, if you're confident and comfortable and your knowledge is such that you're happy to write your own target, whatever, that's fine. They're just a really good tool for our ECTs, which we have a few of.
Right.
They're also a support for our teaching assistants.
Yes.
And it means that we review them as a staff so we can kind of look at different areas of focus with praise and prompt, and we share examples of them with parents as well, don't we?
We do, yes.
So do your parents write back to you in the diaries, or is it that just school write in them? Are they a two-way communication tool? How do they work?
They are a two-way communication tool, and I find I work in foundation stage that a lot of our parents, 90%, would write back in their folders, in the diaries, and it might not just be a message about reading. They might just want to tell me anything random, but that's fine because they're communicating through those diaries.
And it's the same through school.
Okay.
So with the good foundations starting in early years, these are the diaries, these are our expectations, this is how we'd like you to use them, showing you this is how we use them. That's then embedded for those parents and reiterated in the different year groups. So there's a really consistent theme that this is important to us. We write in them, so we want you to write in them.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked terminology, and I know that can be quite overwhelming for parents, can't it? I mean, my husband included, when our children started to learn to read, he was like, I don't know what all this phonics stuff is, I'm not doing that bit. So I think that's really important. You talked about videos. So what sort of videos do you use for your parents? Because I think a video is really powerful, isn't it? You don't have to understand the words. Somebody's actually showing you what that should be. So how do your videos work?
So every Friday, as part of our kind of end of the week post, each year group posts the videos, the teach at home videos from the virtual school platform from Read Write Inc.
Right, okay.
Whereby they have the opportunity to embed and practice the sounds that have been done that week. So
for consolidation at
home. Consolidation, but also it's a low threat for parents because they're not being asked to teach anything. Yeah. It's being done for them. It's a bit of screen time for your children. It's something that's come from school. It's something that our teachers check up on.
Yeah.
So, for example, on a Monday morning when parents have gone up and Rise and Read, we'll ask, did anybody watch the videos over the weekend? Let's have a look at the first one. Get mum and dad or whoever's at home to click on the link, and it brings up your sound from that week.
Right. So the children know where it is and how to use it, as well as sending it home to parents.
Yes, they do, yes.
Yeah.
We also, at the beginning of the last year, didn't we? I did a video of the steps how to read with your child.
Right, okay, that's nice.
And we put that on Class Dojo so they can see, the clear steps, no distractions, choose your book. They could see each other's steps, point to the sounds, so they knew how to do the one-to-one reading at home.
That's lovely. It's a great idea for parents, isn't it? Because if you've not been a parent before, or you're not a reader yourself, knowing how to organise that and get your children to stop watching telly, we're looking at this bit. Having a clear sort of step of how to do that and make it effective at home, I think it's a really good idea. And doing it through a video, again, you can model that with a child, can't you? This is what it should look like.
Yes.
This is what we do. We sit side by side and all those things.
Yes.
And also that we use that video with staff as a training tool.
As part of the training.
Because if we're putting so much time into giving time to read with children, we've got to make sure that time is quality.
Yeah.
So it's important that our children get a fair deal, whoever they read with, and that we haven't got one teaching assistant who's fantastic at reading individually with children, and then a teacher that's maybe less confident because the teaching assistant's always done it.
Yeah.
So we want to try and build a consistency across staff.
Got that same sort of skill level in everybody, the same way it's done.
Yeah.
It's difficult for the children then as well, isn't it? They know what to expect when any adult is taking them to read.
We've just had our inset days in school. We went over that with the staff staff, step by step. So we've got a consistent approach across school.
We do have in our reading folders like a one-to-one reading process.
We do.
So it's like a referral for new teachers.
Right.
It's like a professional learning tool. It's just this is what it looks like for us, and this is how to do it. Because you find when you do that, we found there's pockets of people in school who are super, super skilled at that, and we just wanted to share that and build it together.
Yeah, and I think when you're more experienced, it can become second nature, can't it? You don't really think about what you do, and somebody earlier in the career might not intuitively know what those things are. And but to have that in school and share it at home, that just means you've got the same thing going everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah,
in school and at home, the same, hopefully. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. It was me interrupting you. It eliminates inconsistencies between staff because it gives us a really good idea of what we want it to look like for children.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said you don't do rewards for reading. So what do you do to make the children want to read?
So we do reward reading. I suppose that the right thing to say in terms of not rewarding reading is that we don't single a specific group of children out and not reward them.
Okay.
So, for example, historically, like when I think back now, things that we used to do in the past for reading rewards, you'd have some children that never read at home, so they wouldn't get a reward.
Yeah.
And it would just, I don't know, it just feels wrong, doesn't it? It's not that child's fault necessarily that they don't read
it's
at
not
home.
always their control, is it?
Absolutely
If parents have got time or the skills or the desire themselves to want to sit and read with their child, that's not something the child can control. So I completely get where you're coming from.
Not at this age group. In the infants, they can't control that, can they?
Yeah.
And it's a question of, I think for us, we reward all reading. So whether that's you reading at home, so we reward each read at home. So we've got dojo points, which is, I'm sure lots of people use dojo and you accumulate and you can win prizes, etc. But then children that read in school that potentially don't read at home, some of our more harder to reach children, more challenging to reach at home, we still reward those children because we're rewarding the child, not the parent.
Yeah.
So it's important that, and we've had so many conversations about this because people do think, well, they've not read at home, so why are we giving them? But they have read.
Yes.
It's our job. Any potential gap or barrier or anything that's preventing that child from making progress, it's our job and our responsibility to make it so that it doesn't.
Yeah. So do you find sometimes then that you talk about your spotlight children who are your lowest 20%, if you've got children that don't read at home that aren't spotlight children, do you try and scoop them up in that time too and make sure that they're still getting the opportunity to read?
So we do that. The first thing that we do, and I think we've got a lot better at this because our relationships with parents are so much stronger, is that we will talk to them about it initially. During that rise and read time, you've got time to grab parents as well. Can I just ask you, is there anything I can help you with? I've noticed that, I know it's so busy at the end of the day, at the end of the school day. Is there anything we can help with so that you've got time to read with so-and-so? Rather than you've not read. It's just about that removing the threat of feeling inadequate, because as a parent you'd be thinking, oh, I know I've not read, I'm busy, I've not got time. It's removing that and just saying, what can we do? Can we do anything to start with to help you? Or is there something we can support with? Is it behaviour? Is it time, etc.?
I think we often hear about the mum guilt, don't we, of things that we've not yet done or we've not yet organised. I think being able to turn it around that way is, let's work together. How can we help you do that? And I think sometimes it's the timing of the day, isn't it? I found with my own children, you're busy after work, you've got swimming lessons and everything else to get to, and then the children are tired and they don't want to read. So we used to read at breakfast time.
But you found that time.
For 5 minutes, we'd find what worked for us. And I think sometimes it's the end of the day you have to read. It's finding what works, isn't it, for you, and being able to have that conversation of, actually, we know our child doesn't respond well at this time, let's see what we can do. But being able to have that open conversation with school, I think, of you're not doing your job right, but actually it's not that, it's how can we together absolutely get that right.
And you often find that it's misconceptions around reading, so we've put a lot of that kind of information into our workshops. So, for example, one of the misconceptions that a lot of our parents have is that children have to know every word in the book. They don't have to know every word in the book. We've got books that are instructional, which means that, that they'll push the children in certain areas, but celebrate what they do know. And it's breaking down the misconception, isn't it, that they have to know all of the book. Something else that parents think, it has to be a book that's being read.
Yes. I've spoke to parents, my parents in my class, and I've said it doesn't have to be a book. You can walk to school, you can look for, different objects that begin with different sounds. You can look at street signs, you can look at, road signs. It doesn't have to be a book. You can spot those in the environment, make it as fun as you like. Or you can read to them. That will show them how to hold the book, how to turn the pages of the book.
There are the initial skills that they need for reading out. Which way do we open it? Which way do we turn? Is it front to back or back to front?
Have a look at the print, have a look at the pictures, just have a look what a book looks like in general will get the children engaged.
Yeah.
So hence why we do Rise and read stories every day with the children.
Yeah.
Just giving them a feel of, this is a book. This is exciting. Let's find out what the story's about.
Yeah, and just coming back to what you were saying about finding words in the environment, I think that then links back to what you were saying about sending the videos home. If parents know which sounds have been taught,
yes,
you can walk around looking at the road signs. Oh, look, there's ah. You've been learning ah this week. How many ah can we spot along our journey to school? But they need to know what sounds have been taught first, don't they, in order to be able to do that. So I think you've sort of really tied that together really nicely.
That's one of, in your early years reading and phonics workshops, they're big messages that we give out at the very start of term when children join us in F2, so that everybody, all the children in early years, the parents know in early years that they are the early reading behaviours that we want to encourage. We're not expecting them to read chapter books in early years. Start small.
Little increments.
So
I'm sure you also have parents, what you were saying about not knowing every word in a book. Do you get the opposite? So that this book's too easy for my child?
We do.
A lot, yeah. I think because we have the way read writing structured, we have groups that children kind of move through. And a lot of the time we have children are fantastic at decoding. So the children are brilliant in terms of phonics and phonics assessments, but actually the comprehension side of it is something that we've got to work on with our parents.
And the fluency, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Our year 1 and year 2 workshops talk about comprehension and fluency a lot. So we share a lot with our parents of what fluency means, what comprehension means, what we would expect it to look like in a child in year 2, and what they can do to help them with fluency. So yes, the initial the sounds might be, your child might find them really easy, but actually how this is read and the context around it is what's challenging the further up school you get.
Yeah, and we need the children not to be able to read the words, but to understand what's going on, because otherwise the book's meaningless for them, isn't it? And it's just saying sounds and putting them together. So, and we've talked about lots of things there. So we've got your Rise and Read, getting parents in school and reading with the children and developing those relationships with school. We've talked about reading records and your diaries and how you communicate that with parents. The workshops you have where you show parents how we teach it and the videos that you then share each week. Have you got any top tips to finish us off, or any really good hints of schools that are thinking, oh, we're not at this point yet, how can we get started with engaging our parents more? What do you think maybe is either the most important or something that would be a good start for schools to start thinking about engaging their parents more?
You've got to start somewhere. You can plan and plan and plan and plan things.
Yeah.
But you've just got to bite the bullet and pick one thing that you really want to go full steam ahead with and put your energy into it. I think, and we did that with Rise and Read, and then other things fell into place. So other things kind of backed it up and kept reading in parents' minds. So pick one thing that you think is suitable or form, or actually has two purposes or multiple purposes for your parents. We needed to see parents and get them in. Yeah. We needed parents reading because our phonics scores historically were low, children weren't reading. So we did that to kind of do both.
Yeah.
If it's reading for pleasure, start a reading newsletter, start a book club. It's simple, small things. If it's things like parents' knowledge, parents' understanding, You know, the film that Hayley did for reading with a one-to-one with a child took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Has to be prioritised by your leaders in school. If it's not something that's prioritised by leadership, it won't be prioritised by your teachers. So if it's something that I'm saying all the time, children need to be reading, our children need to be reading, it's our responsibility for children to read. The message is across school, and it doesn't just lie with a class teacher on their own. It's a collective school message that we are readers.
And then parents are hearing that same message as well, aren't
Yes.
they? As a school, at the Green, we are readers.
Yeah.
And they can then filter that into their homes as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us this morning. I know it's taken a lot of your time. And you come away from your children, Hayley, to come and join us. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
If you want to find out more about how we can support you at the English Hub in developing reading in your school, please do visit our website. We've got funding and support that we can offer to schools, as well as a free CPL programme. There's quite a lot going on this year, so do check it out.